3 simple steps to achieve big goals without overwhelm. A lot of people always ask me, they say, Eric, how is it that you go into fashion and then get into Paris Fashion Show and get into Vogue magazine? You decide you want to be a motivational speaker. This was about 4 or 5 years ago, while I was still the shy boy from school. And how did you actually rock all the big stages with Richard Branson and all these big influencers and celebrities? And they always say, how do you actually hit these big goals? And it's not because, and I want you to understand this first of all, it's not because I'm more intelligent than you. It's not because I have higher IQs than you. It's not any of these things. In fact, you know, as a shy boy growing up in school, I used to be like the average, like below average kid, you know, getting all those below average grades. And so what are the key fundamentals to hitting these big goals? And do I not feel the fear at times? Do I not feel the doubts at times? Of course I do. Just like every single one of you who is watching this video right now. And this whole message, before I break it all down for you, I want you to understand that everything, these 3 steps, these 3 keys, if I can make it work, you can definitely make it work too. But before we get into the 3 keys, show reel, hit it. What's up guys, this is Eric Ho here, international speaker, entrepreneur and best-selling author. And in this video, I'm going to break down for you the 3 keys to actually achieving the goals, the big goals in life without overwhelm. And I see where the big problem is, because the moment you start needing to think big, what happens is your mind will be like, actually, maybe I just start from here first of all, because I'm not quite there yet, and I'll do it like 1 step at a time. But the thing is this, if you think small, you can only achieve small. And actually, what if I was to tell you that the bigger goals out there does not actually require more time than the smaller goals? Now you're thinking, Eric, how does that make sense? Because we've always been taught that there's some sort of ladder, right? We always think that actually success is this big ladder that we have to climb up. But there's no ladder. There's nothing we need to climb up. Because if you think about it, how many teenage millionaires are there out there right now? How many really young, how many of you know somebody who's younger than you, who is more successful, more happy, or more wealthy than you? How many of you even know somebody who's not as intelligent as you and making more money than you? So how does that all work? Is it really down to experience? Of course it's not. It's down to your mindset, the way you think about things. That's why I want to break this down for you. First of all, to strike this thing out, there is no such ladder. You do not need to go climbing, because if you think big and if you have a small goal, in fact, those big and small goals you probably achieve in the same amount of time, depending on your strategy. So how do we actually come about thinking of this? Okay, so the first thing is to actually dream big. Now, some of you will think, Eric, I'm already dreaming big. I already have a big goal. Think bigger. Why do I say that? Because when I was 21, I started my first business in the restaurant industry. And that was a £460,000 loan I had to take out from the bank to actually start that business. Now, to a lot of people, that would be a really, really scary experience. How can you be that much in debt, Eric, you know, when you start a business? But you need to understand, you have to risk for reward. There's no such thing as reward without risk, so be prepared to risk for that reward. That's what the greatest entrepreneurs and the greatest influencers, they do out there. And so we always say success leaves clues. So the first thing is dream big. And why I say that is because when I opened that restaurant, my first restaurant at the age of 21, it was like a 200-seater restaurant. Now I think back, a lot of people always ask me, they say, Eric, if you know what you know today, but when you were like, let's say 17 or 18 or 19, your younger self, what would you tell them? I would tell that Eric Ho to dream bigger and achieve bigger. Because now I think, well, why didn't I think to go motivational speaking? Why didn't I think to influence millions of people back then? Why was I thinking so small? Although it's big to some people, but everything's in perspective. So whatever your goal is, whatever your dream is, dream big. And if you're dreaming big already, dream bigger. I want you to do this, by the way. On the comments below, I want you to type in your goals. Because, you know, the act of writing it, this is what Napoleon Hill talks about in Think and Grow Rich. The act of writing it holds vibration, thinking about it emotionally, right? All of this stuff holds vibration. It all helps towards the execution of reaching that goal. So make sure to type your goals below, and also it gives me an opportunity to actually know you guys a little bit better, finally. And so when you dream big, that's the first thing, have that big goal. Now this is where the overwhelm kicks in, because you're like, Eric, I get it, I get writing it down, I get thinking about it, but actually there's a part of my brain which is like, holds a lot of doubt and fear and thinking, can I really do this, right? So how do we actually make it logical in our brain so our brain can be more receptive and accept that you can achieve it? We use a very simple process, and this process is called chunking. And what that means is you need to now take your big goal. Let's say, for example, your big goal is $1 million. Now you need to use the process of chunking, breaking it down, or reverse engineering. I made a separate video on that, right? Reverse engineering. How can we break that big goal into small goalposts? So imagine if you have a big mountain to climb. How can you actually break down the 10 hills you need to climb before you get to the top mountain? Right? It's the step by step. So for example, for us, like let's say for example in the fashion business, it was very simple. We said we want to be at Paris Fashion Show, Paris Fashion Week. We said we wanted to be in Vogue magazine. So if we were just starting out with a new fashion brand, it's very hard for us to say, yeah, I really believe we can do it. Because there's an element of doubt there, which then also manifests. So that's not good for us. So how do we make it more real for ourselves? Very simple. We break it down. We say, okay, to get to Vogue magazine, what do we need? Okay, we need a collection of 25. So we say, okay, make a collection of 25. That's one of the goalposts. And it's like, okay, so we need that. What else do we need? We need to apply, do the application. Okay, cool. We need the investment for it. Okay, find the investment for it. We need, and then plan out all of the stepping stones it takes to actually get that goal. We need to contact a PR agency. Right? And then it's like, oh, but how do we do it? Now this is the mini goals. So it goes to this final part, which is now we broke it all down. It goes to understanding and how to plan our mini goals. Right? So the first thing, dream big. If you dream big already, dream bigger. Right? And then what happens? Break it down, chunk it down, step by step. What are all the things? If you had to break it down into 10 steps to get there, what are the 10 things you need right now? Right? Now you understand 10 steps. As long as you fulfill the 10 steps, you're going to get there, right? Put it in a timeline so you actually have a deadline to meet these goals. Then when it gets to the mini goals, now plan one mini goal at a time. So for us, it was very simple. It was like, okay, we need to find a PR agency. Very simple. Okay, go and find one. And the question is how? In those moments we're thinking, but we don't know any that know how to get us in there. So we ask. And I want you to understand this, and I want you to type this in the comments below to reaffirm this learning as well. There's no such thing, right, as that lack of resources. Because a lot of people, they say, I can't reach success because I don't have the resources. I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the knowledge. No, it's never the lack of resources, it's only ever the lack of resourcefulness. So if you don't have the money, okay, now set a plan. How do I find the money? If you don't have the time, how do I find or make the time, right? If you don't have the knowledge, how do I find out how? The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions. So ask the right questions and you will get the right solutions. Guys, if this video has been of any use to you whatsoever, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. Also, comment below, let us know where you guys have tuned in from. It's always nice to know. And finally, if you're new to this channel, remember to hit that subscribe button and the notifications button next year, because this year, I'm dedicated to making daily videos to hold you accountable, to make this year your best year yet. But for now, guys, ciao.